Okay, so welcome to the music panel. Just a quick show of hands. How many of you here are actually interested or are a musician? Okay, how many of you out of those people are looking to develop a career in music? Okay, so quite a few. So would you guys want to talk about being a career musician or just music in general?
Let's talk about all of it.
Yeah?
Sorry, go ahead.
No,
you.
Okay, so
all right, American.
Yes. How many Americans have we got on the panel? Oh,
I know.
Only joking. So let's just do quick introductions because I don't know who half you are and most of you probably don't know who I am. I am Dave. I'm a musician. I'm a singer-songwriter. I run the Upload Tour, which is a touring thing for UK YouTubers, hoping to expand soon. So that's me. Over to you, Bri.
Oh, sorry. Hello, I'm BriBry. I'm a songwriter and YouTuber. I'm from Ireland, and that's great.
Hi, I'm Tessa Violet. I'm a singer-songwriter and video blogger. I'm from Tennessee.
Hi, I'm Lance. I do crunk music.
Crunk?
Yeah, baby.
Fantastic.
Hi, I'm Mark Douglas, and I have a series called The Key of Awesome, and I write funny songs, and
I'm Doug, and I produce those songs.
and helps me write them.
Okay, I'm John T, also known as Weebl, and I write very strange songs.
I'm Chris. I work for a company called Bay79.
Boom.
I don't have a channel, thank you, Dave. But I'm here to offer kind of industry advice around building audiences for musicians on YouTube.
Cool.
Okay, so where to begin? We were given a topic to talk about, which is, I'll read it out, and then we'll get someone's first thing. Music on YouTube, a means to an end or its own industry? Anyone?
It sounds fascinating.
It does, doesn't it?
Let's discuss it.
Should we scrap it?
depth.
Should we scrap it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put out a question to each of you. Unfortunately, Chris, this doesn't help you. Why? What were your reasons for becoming a career musician? Bri.
Tessa, can you go first? Can Tess go first?
Tess.
Oh. Well, I was a career YouTuber before I was a career musician. I'm not sure if I even technically count as a career musician yet, but music is a passion, and if you can follow that into being your career, why not?
So you started out as a blogger and then went and then used your audience to go, hey, I also do music.
Yeah, I video blogged for 5 years, and then I started writing music, and I was like, oh, also, what about this, guys?
So you never started vlogging with the intention of music, it just happened, it was just a hobby, and then you went, oh, do you know what, I could do this?
Yeah.
Interesting. Bri, was that?
I'm the exact same as Tess, yes. Yeah, good times, good times. Yeah, I started off and I just traveled around the world doing Things to Do Before You Die videos, but I had no intention of letting anyone hear my music. But then I let them hear one song, and then since then it became my career, so that was nice.
Lance?
I'm not good at anything else. Music is all I can really do, so that's what I do. I used to play for metal bands, and then I started rapping as a joke, and then I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I like that bass.
Yeah. So
and that's what I do now.
So why did you choose YouTube as your main platform, or did you not? Is that just how it happened?
YouTube is probably the biggest tool for me, but I consider myself like a musician first, I guess. And it's obviously the best way to get your music out.
Okay, moving on.
I've always been equally into comedy and wanted to be a comedian, and I also equally loved music and sort of dabbled at both of them, and then one day I discovered Tenacious D, and I decided I wanted to be exactly that. And I remember writing down in a diary once, I want to be a funny musician. And it was like the purest expression of, I was just doing a lot, I was acting, I was trying a bunch of different things, and then I feel like I wrote that down and I was like, yes, I'm going to just focus on being exactly that.
How long ago was that?
Oh God, it was probably about, I would say probably 13, 14 years ago.
And how long did it take before you felt you were at a point where you could call yourself a career comedy musician?
Probably, well, it wasn't until YouTube, really. I was doing a lot of, I was in a musical comedy duo. I did a lot of it for free, put a lot of my own money into it. People would actually be like, you know, you're funny, you should ditch the guitar. And I just was like, no, I don't want to. I feel comfortable up here. It's like, I'm not a good enough musician for people to just listen to me sing for real. I realize I got to put jokes in there. So the comedy kind of gives me an excuse to actually bring the guitar up. But it was probably a good 7 or 8 years before I kind of said, all right, I don't have a day job. You know? Doug, you still with us?
Sure,
Doug?
sure. Music is just something I've been doing my whole life. There wasn't ever really another option for me, except when I thought I wanted to be an architectural engineer. And then I realized I was making up what an architectural engineer was.
What did you think it was?
Just a person who draws stuff. And I wasn't really good at drawing, so I don't know where that came from. And so, yeah, music is what I've been doing the whole time.
Also a very funny guy.
I kind of fell into it by accident, really, I guess. I started off with the animation, and then, because I'd done music for so long, like building up all the synths and everything for 16 odd years, he's like, why am I not using this as well? And then just set out to annoy as many people as possible with my tunes. And I kind of did with badges, which just looped forever. Apparently I've killed a person, so that's good.
Seriously?
Apparently, in Korea.
How did that take shape?
Apparently, he
Seizure?
watched it for 3 days and then thought,
That'll probably do it.
Chris, what advice would you give to someone who, if they're a musician and they're on YouTube, what do you think, as someone who's outside of being a musician, what do you think is the main thing a musician should do to help their career grow and develop?
Finding a voice, I think, is really important, and finding a genre that fits you and your audience as well is hugely important. So at Base 79, we work with people like Ebony Day and Tom Law, who are very fitting for a YouTube audience. And early on in their careers, we're starting off doing covers, and that was a really great way of attracting audiences and like views to their videos because it was hugely searchable. So there's a really easy point in starting off a career.
Well, I was just about to say to that. As on the whole, do we feel that doing covers is important or not important? I hate doing them, and I don't want to do them, and I don't feel like it's helpful because if I'm doing even if I'm doing it in my own style, I feel like people are just clicking on the cover. And I don't know if you look at your retention figures for covers, but they're often a lot lower than your original songs. Do you feel covers are actually good? Because everyone always says they're really good for your growth, but do they actually keep you people there for your own music as well or not?
I think it depends on what else you have on your channel. You know, if you are doing covers, it's always good to back it up with your own material, whether it's vlogging or other original music that you've made yourself. But I don't think you should solely rely upon covers. I think that's detrimental, and particularly if you're looking on kind of the back end and looking at the publishing side of it, then you can get into trouble for doing covers. So absolutely, I think it's key. It's not key, but it's a good way of attracting viewers to your channel, but I would certainly not rely on it.
There's definitely been some success stories. I mean, Walk Off the Earth was a band that did the one guitar video, which we parodied, and they've sort of parlayed that into a pretty successful career and led people to their original songs, which are great. But they always have an interesting kind of, they almost sort of make a viral video out of their cover. So they always do something with it. I feel like if you're going to do a cover and you don't really have much to add to it, it's probably not worth doing. But
So just a cover with one guy and an acoustic guitar is pretty pointless. Is that?
well, I mean, I don't know. I've seen some pretty good ones. It depends.
Justin Bieber.
Yeah, he did all right.
Who's he?
For a while.
I think that, just to add in, you have people that have built huge careers just from doing covers. Looking at people like Conor Maynard, who now has major label deals through building a channel based upon covers and vlogging.
I thought he was about to get dropped.
Well, let's not discuss that, but I think... Is he? Interesting.
Make your own music.
Exactly. But you know, if you look at the view count of people's covers on YouTube, there is a huge audience there, and whether it's from a channel owner's perspective important to do, I think the audience says that there is a huge amount of interest for it.
Who in the room has uploaded a cover video?
I think that there's a space for covers. I mean,
I'm not saying there's not a space for covers. I'm just saying how important is it, do you feel, within the context of being a musician on YouTube? Is it more important to... Because I always get told, do covers, it will help you grow. But at what expense am I doing the cover is my point.
I guess I would say when it comes to absolutely everything you do in the creative field, the most important thing is that it's something you enjoy. So if you loathe it, certainly not worth it. But if you enjoy it, or if it's a song you love or touched you, or something it's like, well, I just like it, even if it's a cheesy pop song, I would say, yeah, go for it. I mean, I don't do covers, but I do video blogs, which is not related to the music, just because I enjoy it.
Kind of seems like even before YouTube, covers are sort of a portal that a lot of musicians kind of have to go through. I mean, you hear a lot of bands that are huge started as a cover band. Yeah. So I mean, it's a tricky balance. You don't want to get known for it, but if you can, I mean, the thing that we do that I would say is analogous to it is song parodies. We will parody the big, huge hit, and then that'll lead people to our originals and our other sketches. So I mean, I think you have to strike a balance where you got to make sure people know that this is not all we do, even though it might get you the mega hits.
Just looking around, it strikes me that none of us are in our first format as a musician, as in our current form, as in we all did groundwork somewhere else. John T as an animator, you as a comedian, vlogger, metal bands. I was in an indie band. Do you think that in order to be a successful musician or to have some substance in your songs, you kind of need to have done a bit of groundwork elsewhere or lived a little bit? Or do you think how hard do you think it is to be a Justin Bieber who puts up a couple of songs and gets noticed? Do you think actually it's more important to develop yourself before you actually push yourself out? Is that a clear question?
Well, he was a prodigy, so it was pretty easy for him.
Let me see if I can word that question better.
No, I got it. Yeah, I mean, well, what I think... No, I forgot what I was going to say. Anybody?
Basically, I'm looking around. The audience in here is all... Most people under 18? Okay. And we're all over 24?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so I'm just thinking that none of us are 16-year-olds in our room with an acoustic guitar anymore, putting up a video on YouTube. We've all kind of done some groundwork. And do you think if you're telling people how to become a musician, do you think that advising them to learn their trade before they start uploading, or just go for it? What do you think is a better option? I think John T would say just go for it.
I would say just go for it. That's the punk thing to do, isn't it, though? I mean, if you can play 3 chords, you're away.
3 chords and the truth.
That's it. But then it helps to have some sort of message or life experience behind that, to have actually got something to say.
I agree.
So it helps to have a crap job, I'd say. To begin with.
Yeah.
That makes you more eager for getting out and doing the thing you want to do.
I
worked in an optics fibre factory.
Wow.
Yeah, it was shit. You're just pulling glass shards out your finger at the end of the day.
Yeah, I was a bellboy.
Anyone else?
You were a bellboy?
Yeah.
Wow.
I worked in a shoe shop and I sold a customer 1 shoe. So I quit and became a musician.
Very, very good. What shoe was it?
It was the left shoe. It was a Van, you know Vans? Very popular shoes. He wasn't happy, but...
Okay, I'm just going
to I was saying before in the other panel that it was really nice to have had most of the garbage that I created not out there.
But that's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was good to kind of learn and, do comedy shows and play in front of people, and it was before everybody was filming everything. Now it's just like, oh my God, I've had a couple of gigs where I've forgotten words and people are like filming it. I'm like, please don't upload that. But it was nice to have all of that time to kind of get some comedy chops and some music chops before I came to YouTube, instead of sort of seeing all that awful growth. But I mean, if I was starting now, I would probably just start on YouTube. I mean, you can always delete the videos if you're really ashamed later on.
Also the thing about just going for it is that you get the opportunity to learn both about presenting yourself on camera as you're learning about writing, and I think it's important to just do as much as you can if you want to do it. The only way to do it is by practicing and learning, and if you're waiting for the right moment, you're never going to be good enough, and
you're going to be bad for a while.
You're going to be bad for a very long time. My mom is an excellent banjo player, but she doesn't play in front of people very often. And when she plays in front of me, she always like makes mistakes. And she's like, I don't understand why I'm making this mistake. I've done this 100 million times by myself perfectly. I'm like, that's because you don't practice playing in front of people. And that's a skill that needs to be learned, and just being willing to be bad at it for a long time is the first step to being good at it.
So do you feel that being good at in front of a camera equates to being good in front of an audience?
No, those are two different skills.
Do you not think there's some benefit, though, to, as a developing YouTube musician and having a channel, and of course everyone's got to start from somewhere, but having that audience, whether it's, you know, the size that you guys are at or a smaller channel, having the ability, like you say, to practice in front of a camera, having those videos that may have mistakes, but having the audience feedback must be quite important, I think, probably for definitely developing people, musicians that are starting channels. Learning what your audience likes and where you can improve, that's the beauty of YouTube, and having that engagement and interaction and the ability to get that feedback, I think must be quite important.
You also have a blacklist issue, though, don't you? If you put one video up that people don't like, they're very unlikely to come back and watch one of your others. So, yes, I agree with that, but at some point, if you put up a load of shoddy videos where you're learning your trade, you've got to go away and then rebrand and start again, because it's highly unlikely if people see your name again, they're going to come back, in my opinion.
It's having that balance, though. I imagine you're not going to put up loads of really crap videos of yourself, like making mistakes, but certainly somewhere, you know, you are developing, you're getting better, and I think that's a beautiful thing to be a part of if you're an audience. And then, like you say, if you get to a point where your channel is almost self-fulfilling and your audience has grown so vast, you can delete the videos if you want, you know, and don't have them there. But I think it's having that balance, probably.
I worry that if I think about if I had started younger, like people say horrible things to me on a daily basis in the comment section. You know, I'm a full-grown adult with, you know, I can sort of handle it, but I would worry about people starting out, and if that would discourage them, you know, some of the things that people, some of the cyberbullying and things that people say. I mean, I certainly was heckled a few times on stage, but there's something about the comments that I feel like is worse and more cutting, because people don't have to sort of deal with the consequences of what they say. They can just put it out there and say horrible things. But that's the one thing I would, you know, worry about people starting now, if YouTube could possibly discourage them from continuing, you know.
Yeah. Do we have any questions in the room? Anyone got any questions? I'm going to do my wandering trick. You're closest.
What advice would you give for a singer who's trying to develop their style of voice and their voice in general to make it stand out?
Did you hear that?
Yeah. Sing in your accent. Seriously, I wouldn't be where I was if I didn't sing in my Irish accent. I actually used to sing with an American voice because that's what everybody else did, and I sounded like a little twat. But I know, like, you've got a lovely accent, so why don't you just sing in that, and then everyone will be like, oh, she's got a lovely voice.
There's another point with that. I was given that bit of advice as well. If you sing how you talk, no one can
voices instead of trying to imitate like pop stars. I tried to sing like pop stars forever, and then I realized maybe that's why I sound so terrible all the time. And kind of zoning in on whatever your quirk is great.
I mean, I sound like a rambling drunk most of the time,
but you are, John T.
It is true. But I get away with it, so why not?
I still don't know what my voice is. All I ever do is impersonate people, but, you know, for comedic effect.
You're quiet, Lancer.
Just do your thing. Just YOLO swag out. Just be yourself. You know, Kanye West, he goes on stage and he's like, huh, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, he said, huh. Just do it.
Any other questions? Squeeze me. I'll go around that way. It's fine.
Obviously, YouTube is a great platform for music, but other than like putting your original stuff on YouTube, what other platforms would you suggest backing that up with?
What other platforms would you suggest using as well as YouTube?
Real life. Concerts.
Hell yes.
Play shows. Go play at like coffee shops and, well, not bars because you guys are young, but play on the street, whatever. Like, the more you do by yourself, like, beside like, you know, on YouTube and on the internet, but also concerts. The more you can do like that, the more you're gonna find yourself in your character, and the harder you work at it, the better it'll be. Maybe.
How many gigs was it before you felt like you'd nailed it? Like you were doing a good job?
Maybe 70.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to add to that? Platforms?
On the internet, obviously something like SoundCloud and Bandcamp, I'd say, for sure.
Spotify is where it's at right now as well.
If you want to earn money, yeah, get on Spotify.
Yeah, that Spotify money.
Yeah, can't beat the Spotify.
Hey, my money's going up on it. I'm happy.
Oh yeah.
We have a question here.
Did you ever find it hard to like get yourself noticed through YouTube, or did you like have to do other things to get yourself noticed properly as well?
Well, John, did you hear that question?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Brian, Tess, you both did other things before, so they built their audience beforehand.
Yeah.
Jonty, you've done a few tweets recently indicating that it's much harder to get your videos viewed now than it was 5 or 6 years ago.
It definitely is. The changes to the algorithm recently, with the watch time becoming the most important factor, I believe. It promotes things or adds weight to the videos where you can upload about 10 minutes a week at least, I'd say. And for me as an animator, it's nigh impossible to make that sort of minutage. And a lot of other animators are saying the same as well. But I think that affects not just us, but obviously if you're doing original music or short form comedy or something like that and it's taking time, then you will see an effect on that side of things. So it is definitely harder.
Yeah, have you got anything to add to that?
I mean, it's definitely as well way more saturated than it used to be. So there's a lot of people putting out music on YouTube, and it's almost become more than just about music. It's about presenting your music in a way that it's hard to not be derivative, but finding that little thing that's different, that's going to make someone want to write about it and share it with their friends, and isn't just the same thing they've seen over and over. Because to cut through the sheer numbers, doing what everyone else is doing is difficult.
I think we all of us started eons ago, so it's hard for us to answer that question in terms of starting now. But I have a few singer-songwriter friends who started within the last year, and I think the most important thing for them is making content that is very shareable, that someone is like, ooh, that was just cute in just the right way. It's small enough that I feel cool sharing it, like, hey friends, look what I just found, you'll like this. And doing collaborations with people and getting to appear on like your friends' channels, finding people at your level, and writing together too.
Okay, Chris, do you have anything to add to that as industry side of it?
So
how difficult is it for someone starting to get heard? Particularly, let's target that particularly if you're an original singer-songwriter or in a band and you've set up your YouTube channel and you've got no audience other than your friends and family. At that point, you have no audience. Because this is the question I guess we all get asked all the time from people, how do you end up growing? And again, I think you're right, we started ages ago, it was different. I did it by gigging, but is there a way of doing it solely on YouTube? Because gigs are harder to get, music venues are closing down, so is there a way of really getting the YouTube market?
There's definitely ways to benefit yourself and to benefit growth. Everything that you guys have mentioned are sterling tips, but from the ground up, if you're starting a channel with no subscribers and no audience, the best way of doing it is having the best optimized channel. And going back to what you mentioned about an algorithm that YouTube is centered around on, optimizing your channel, be it the about section, the video descriptions, making sure that you're sharing links to subscribe to your channel with your videos. All of that is centered around SEO and keywords, and that's how YouTube pulls through traffic to your channel, to your videos, through the algorithm. So finding out how to do that, there's benefits of working with a company like mine to do that, and certainly you can do it yourself, but optimizing your channel is probably the first thing I would do, alongside a really consistent content schedule. Making sure you're uploading, regularly, whether it's once a week, once every 2 weeks. Try and do it on the same day. Make sure you're building up a great atmosphere around the channel. pushing out through your social media and letting the audience know that, yeah, I'm going to upload on a Friday, you can expect this, and then maybe back it up with a vlog on a Wednesday. And just having that consistency, I think, is key to growing it at the start. I don't know, you guys probably offer more insight into that, but in terms of kind of the back-end stuff, looking at how to build a channel, that's certainly how I would do it.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting, doesn't it?
No, but at the same time, it's quite essential.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things, isn't it? You know, I started out to play guitar. I wanted to be a guitarist, and now I've had to learn about what SEO means.
Yeah. But
Hands up if you know what SEO means. Yeah, great. It's search engine optimization, apparently. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
I've learned something. Yeah. Any other questions? I'm going to get fit. Awesome.
As a musician, do you relatively need the voice as well as the instrument? For example, I'm a relatively average guitar player. Do I need that voice to get my content out there, or can I just play guitar and upload it?
Well, Rob
There's a
Scallon
bigger market for vocalists, and people connect with that more, but that doesn't mean that it's impossible.
There's a little Asian kid who got like really famous recently. He does like, you know, the singer will be like ma 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 ma. And he does all the singing bits on his guitar, and he's a little genius. He's from Korea, I think. That's my answer.
So he only plays guitar?
He only plays guitar, except he does the most amazing things. So if you're a great guitar player, go for it.
There's Rob Scallon who's amazing guitarist, and he's getting gigs with
Queen.
One of the Hanks. I don't know. Anyway, he's hugely popular now, and all he ever did was play guitar, but he played it incredibly, incredibly well. And he didn't sing at all, but now he's massive and good work. So yes, it's possible, but you've just got to be amazing.
Any other questions? I feel I know where this is going to end up. The other side of the room. Got the musician's belly as well, haven't I? So this is helping.
Hi. My question is more to do with when you've gone to the next level, like you've created your own content. Obviously, then you have to publish your work like on iTunes and stuff like that. How hard is it to publish, say, on iTunes and Android market? Is it difficult to get around to this?
It's easy as anything.
Yeah, it's piss. It's just like, there's like all these companies like CD Baby where you pay them to put their music on and then you make the most. But most people take like there's this place called AWOL that me and Dave use, and they take like 15% of every sale I make. But you go on, like within a week, you have your songs up there.
There's basically, if you search online music distribution, you'll find tons of companies. CD Baby, TuneCore.
Don't use
There's a
TuneCore.
All right, but look them up at least and look at the reviews.
There's a company in San Francisco called Louder, and they do what all these companies do, but they also help with cover songs. So if you are doing a lot or any cover songs at all, you can go through them and they'll get the rights for you to cover them and sell that song and pay the person who owns the publishing for you to sing it. So fantastic company and really great people.
There's a lot of issues with law and doing covers and releasing your own copies of covers. You can't do it unless you have permission. So was that Louder?
Yeah, spelled Loudr. If you're doing covers, you have to check this out. It's so easy.
Yeah, that sounds good. So it's really easy. Any other questions? And yeah, there's very few costs involved as well. Very few.
You know, well, there's obviously different genres of music, and not all of you do different genres, but is it better to make yourself known within just one genre of music? Because I'm quite passionate about many different. So is it sensible to just stick to one while you're getting started, or experiment a bit with it?
I think right now in music, there's a lot of genre border crossing and a lot of cool, like, for example, Taylor Swift, what was that song? It's like, I mean, she's a country artist, but there's like dubstep in it and that one. Yeah, there's a lot of genre border crossing and stuff. And so, I mean, there's always people that are just going to like one genre, but a lot of people just like, how many of you guys like just a bunch of different kinds of music? Like I do, I listen to smooth jazz and death metal and EDM and all that. So I say play around with it, have some fun, cross genres.
But yeah, the best way of being original is to mix two things together.
Do polka death metal.
Oh, yes. Everyone, I'd like to introduce Helen. Helen is a vlogger. She's also in a band called Box of Light. Thanks for being late.
You would not believe what we have just been through to get here.
Well, I don't care. He's come from Sweden. He hasn't slept. He hitchhiked to be here.
I hitchhiked.
Oh.
Yeah. Lance definitely wins. Any other questions? Lovely hair, by the way.
When you're starting out writing songs and stuff like that, how would you go about starting to write your own music? Is it easy to start, or?
What a question. I was waiting for that one.
I've been late, so I might as well give this one a go.
Okay.
Writing songs, I find, is about picking a subject, or if you're feeling a particular way one day, or something's been bugging you, and you think, oh, I could totally write this into a song. Yeah. So it's just a case of bunging some chords or some like melodies together, and then just writing the words down, and then you know, you just build on that, and then it just becomes a complete transformation, and there you have it. You have a song. You take a stimulus from life, and then you portray it in a musical form.
Hands up who has actually written a song here. Hands up if you'd like to write songs here. Okay. Was there many difference there?
For me, the part from transitioning for me from being a music lover to a music writer was looking up the chords for things and realizing how many songs use the same chord progression, and then refusing to listen to my iPod, insisting listening to the radio in the car and listening to the chords and thinking, what other song has this progression, and singing a different song over that song and realizing, oh my gosh, music's so simple. It's the same thing. It's the same song. I've heard the same song for the last 12 songs in a row. So then when I go home and I think, well, okay, if I heard the same progression 40 times a day on the radio, what melody could I write over this? And realizing that it has all been written before, and it's not what can I do that's never been heard, it's what can I do that is like a special piece of me, and how can I do this?
I think lyrics are the most important. Yeah. I hate like, I love you, you've a nice face, all that kind of stuff. It's just awful. I always hear it on the radio. That's the thing, that's what gets to #1 these days, when Radio 1 just kind of, you're in the club, you have nice legs, and all this stuff. It's just awful. So
no photos.
Oh, no photos. So I think lyrics are the most important. I write poems before I put them to music. So
did you?
Yeah. No, as in I still do. I still write my lyrics before I do anything else.
Okay. So on the whole, we all write songs here, other than Chris. Yeah. Chris, how do you write song?
I don't.
Okay.
I'd say too, like, don't judge the process too much. Don't feel like it has to be this glorious. You're feeling it all the time. I think that's why I think deadlines are great, because sometimes you're just like, if you're gonna perform it for somebody, or if you have to upload a video and you've said, hey, every Friday I'm gonna put up a new song. It kind of gets you to just it's never gonna feel finished. So if you give yourself a deadline, you're like, well, this is what I have now. And I think that lesson, I learned that lesson early on when I would do gigs, or when I would have to write something every week. I was part of a comedy show where I had to just deliver either a song or a sketch every week. But there's a great thing about a deadline that just makes you go, all right, well, I wish this sounded a little bit more original, but the show is tonight. And I think, and then sometimes, a lot of times my process is writing something and going, Doug, what is that something else? Is that melody? Doug is like an encyclopedia of melodies. Like, what was the one you figured out the other day? The Bang Bang song.
It's Wake Me Up.
Wake Me Up Before You Go, yo. That dun 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 dun. It's like you got the sunshine in the rain. But anyway,
I think
that was just a rambling thing.
Write every day as well.
Yeah.
And even if you don't finish it, you go, oh, keep it, and then maybe something later on you go, oh wait, if I put this with this, then maybe that would work. I've got thousands and thousands of tunes that I've never finished, but every now and then I go, wait, oh, this would go so well with this, and then put them together, and then it's like, wow, it all comes together. So don't be scared to throw things away, but keep them somewhere.
In terms of where to start, there's no rules. Don't even bother buying the books. Just have a go. You either do it with the music, do it with the lyrics. You decide. There are no rules with songwriting. Choose whatever chord sequence you want. The one advice, I kind of like what Tess said about listening to what people have already done is very useful, and particularly in terms of structure. Most songs are really structured in a way to make them work. And you can break away from those rules, but sit down with your favorite songs and go, okay, this one goes intro, verse, chorus, or this one goes chorus, verse, verse, chorus, chorus. Figure out what your favorite songs do and then go from there. But there are no rules, so don't feel like you have to stick to that. And if you want to break them, someone's had to break the rule for that to happen in the first place. So that's what I'm like with songwriting. Any other questions? Yeah, great. I'm going with the ones that are closer. Sorry if you're at the back.
What would you say the biggest expectations are for musicians? And is there a difference between being female and having those expectations and being male?
What do you think? Anyone? Okay, I'm going to put it out there. I am a singer-songwriter. I'm 29 years old, and for the before this year, last 3 years, I kept on getting told I needed to look younger to be successful. By many industry people told me I need to look younger. This year I decided to grow a beard and tell everyone to fuck off. So, do you think it's important? Are our expectations on musicians too much about how we look, or do you think it matters? I mean, this is a wonderfully good-looking panel, so...
There's actually a nice bit of a shift going on right now in the music industry where uniqueness is starting to be appreciated a little bit more. I think it's finally gotten... I mean, there's always going to be, bubblegum. There's always going to be produced, overproduced. But it's kind of nice to see some of the, even in top 40 things creeping in there where it's like, oh, wow, this is a person who has a unique personality, a unique sound, and that's starting to win out.
Do you think that's because the way the internet is allowing discovery of music rather than just being force-fed what the labels gave us 15 years ago?
To some extent, yeah.
Do you think it's harder for a woman?
Sometimes.
Do you think there's more expectation on how a female musician should look compared to how a male musician should look?
Certainly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely, but
biggest selling musician of the last 3 years is Adele.
And absolutely, she's beautiful though. Don't tell me she's not.
She's not. I haven't said that, but
gorgeous.
she's not the stereotypical to what the media would put out as being a conventionally.
In absolutely any media, there is more of an expectation for women to be young and beautiful than men. However, that doesn't mean that it is something you need to make your. You don't need to be consumed by that. And certainly talent and content is more important than how you look. But acknowledging it as a reality is okay too. But don't get caught up in it maybe? What would you say?
I don't know. It is true when you look at female singers and stuff, and they're all, like, in the popular music industry, it's like they're all slamming hotties and stuff, and you do think, wow, there's a whole package there, but I think it depends on kind of what genre of music you're in, like, in the more kind of alternative scene, I think it's less about what you look like and more kind of a bit like, yeah, rockin' kind of thing. So I think personally, I think it depends on what channel of music you want to go down, and yeah.
I think it's just having an image, whether that image is important, whether you're good looking or whether you just something, a unique image to it, like Slipknot. They're not cute guys. They have an image, like just something that kind of brands you apart as yourself.
That's a good point. Dave here is known for his bare feet, so I actually copied him when I met him, and I thought, oh, I want to do that too. So since then, I've done bare feet on stage as well. So that's Dave's.
He's so original.
Cheers. That's Dave's thing, though. Everyone always says, oh, if you don't know, he always, oh, that's the bare feet guy. Yeah, I know him. So that's a thing. And your beard.
But not the songs. Yes!
Always good.
But that's the thing, isn't it? Like, for me, I guess all musicians, would you rather, I love that game, would you rather have half the audience you have but not have to worry about image at all, or go the extra mile with the image and end up with a bigger audience?
I
think it depends on what you're comfortable doing. I mean, you see Rihanna was half naked most of the time, but she seems really comfortable with that.
I'm comfortable with that as well.
You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like anyone's making her do it. I'm sure they're happy that she's doing it, but I never get the sense that she's like sad about it. You know, so I think, and there's people. Some people are just very visual. Like Marilyn Manson, I consider to be more of a visual artist than a musician. Yeah. You know, and I think what you were saying about Slipknot goes back to Kiss. You know, it is. I mean, you can get far by being a visual artist. But if you're not comfortable doing that, then don't do it. You know, Radiohead doesn't seem worried about it.
We'll have one more question, and then I've got a roundup topic. So one more question. That was the first hand that went up. You have cool hair as well. It's like the cool hair week, isn't it? Like weekend, everyone's got cool hair. Other than me, yes.
I wanted to ask, if your mother tongue is not English, do you think it's better to write songs in your, or make content in your mother tongue because it's more personal, or in English so that more people understand you and can connect with you? Mother tongue?
Mother tongue. Where are you from?
Austria.
Ah, cool.
Do you think it's better to write songs in your own tongue if you're from somewhere that's not English speaking, or do you think it's better to conform to English?
I think that would depend on what you feel your goal as a career musician is. Are you more fed by being a performance artist and being in front of huge arenas? Is that your goal? Or is it the process of writing, and it doesn't matter if it's just one person who connects with you, and that's powerful, because definitely writing in your mother tongue, you're going to be able to express yourself more accurately than in a second language. But also, you know, there's Phoenix. They're French, right? Yeah. Yeah, and they said, when asked, why do you write your songs in English, they said, that's just the language our music's in. So certainly personal preference, I guess. Evaluate where you want to go in your career.
There's a big untapped market of Spanish music at the moment. Spanish is like the most spoken language, and not enough Spanish music.
Or learn Spanish, and then
learn Spanish.
do that.
Do that. Anyone else got a point on that? I think that's kind of covered it.
Well, didn't Sigur Rós just make up their own language?
Yeah, Sigur Rós made up their own gobbledygook, it's called. Yeah.
They thought it was an actual language.
Which is pretty cool. I wish I could do that. That's cool.
That is cool. It's like.
Yeah, but their music makes up for it. The whole anthemic stuff. So.
Okay, so we're just gonna wrap it up now. Thank you all for listening. We hope you've learnt something from this or got some kind of inspiration. Just can everyone just give some kind of final point to try and inspire someone who's a musician, just who's young and wants to do it? What's your one bit of advice you always give? And then you get that question, what is your one bit of advice you would give to anyone who's starting out? Go.
Always add an annoying sound. Like, Wigfield's Saturday Night was hugely popular because it had a duck quacking throughout the entire song. And I did something similar with Badger, Badger, Badger and made an annoying sound for it, and it just went crazy. So always add an annoying sound.
Tyler, what killed that guy?
Yeah.
Chris, I want to bring you in on this as well. To anyone starting out, what's your advice as someone like even YouTube? Take it down that route if you want, but
just consistency. Just keep going and keep learning from what you're doing. I think using YouTube and asking your audience perhaps what they'd like to see and improving from that, improving from your mistakes. Don't ever be brought down because you're frustrated by making those errors. I think that's just developing as an artist, so just keep going.
I'd say consume music. You know, a lot of people are afraid of being derivative, but all music is derivative. There's a great book called Steal Like an Artist. And he says, make, you know, whatever your art is, if it's music, don't make what your idols would make, but imagine if all your idols got together and had a baby. And, you know, like what all those people, what all that combined, you know, and then in your voice, what would that sound like? That's a great way to think about it. It's like, it's not like you're stealing. It's you're taking all your influences,
paying homage to,
and putting them together.
I guess I would one piece of advice I would say is if a melody or a lyric pops in your head, write it down immediately wherever you are. Record it. Don't assume you're going to remember it later, because the chances are you won't, and you'll be kicking yourself.
Yeah, iPhones are great, or any smartphones. They've all got voice recorders in these days. It's saved my bacon on many occasions.
I would say be persistent in the sense that if you're starting out and you want to get your name known, just keep posting it out on every single social media platform. If you're ropey, who cares? Because we all learn to grow and we all get better and better. But you just wanna get your name out there. You want people to, even if it's just local, like local pubs or local bars, and you just want to play small shows, do acoustic stand-up stuff, like go out there and explore what's around your community and just get your name around, and that'll create a buzz, and you'll get to know people and you'll get to communicate with likewise people. And it's just, yeah, it's about knowing other people in the same boat as you and just growing from that.
I'd say hard work and knowing all the different departments of what you're doing. The more you can do by yourself, the more that's going to happen. Like write your own songs, make your own videos, come up with your own ideas, book your own concerts. I might send out 100 emails to get a show in Paris, and just for one show, but it makes it worth it if you put in the hard work and just go to a deputy.
Write music that you like and be your own biggest fan. Don't be unafraid to be excited for the things that you're doing and the things that you are. And I think sometimes people get modesty mixed up with being unsure or unconfident, and know that it's okay to be confident in what you like and to be excited about it and to talk to other people about it, and be unafraid of fear. Fear is a normal human emotion, and it makes sense to be afraid before you go on stage for the first time, and choose to accept that fear and not let it stop you.
I think where you are now is perfect because you're at this massive place full of thousands of people, and somewhere in the city has an open mic, so you could have done that if you wanted to. Yeah, they still do that.
By the entrance.
And right now in this room is just a bunch of really, really lovely people who all have the same goals. So your first fans are not going to be fans, they're going to be your friends. So just get to know as many people somewhere in the city as possible, become friends with them, and then when you have a song, they will listen to it.
Very good. Very good, guys. I'm going to add one thing to that. Take risks. Don't be afraid to take risks, and don't give a shit about anyone's opinion other than your own, and have a few really close friends or family that you trust. Other than that, really don't give a shit, because you're always gonna have someone who's not gonna like it. It's impossible to please everyone with any kind of music. So just be yourselves. And yes, I think it's kind of similar to the LGBT talk. Very similar ending. I think be yourself. Don't be afraid. It's a serious topic as.
When did you come out as a musician then?
Well, I came out as a musician. I think I'm genetically inclined to be a musician. I don't think there's any other option for me. But thank you all for listening. We hope you've enjoyed yourselves. Thank you to the panel. You're wonderful.